Hello everyone and welcome back to another RaceRoom video, and welcome for the first time to Oschersleben. We're here tonight for round 3 of the ACTROLLVISION VW Scirocco Cup series. You may remember that we got this championship underway a couple of weeks ago at Hockenheim, so you're probably also wondering what happened to round 2 at Brands Hatch. Well, the answer was technical difficulties. Unfortunately, my internet failed me at the worst possible time and I was booted out 2 laps into the race, and that resulted in me posting a DNF which has sent me to the bottom of the championship standings. But we're going to get back out on track tonight and hopefully right a few wrongs from the previous week, but it's going to be tough. As I mentioned just a second ago, I've never driven Oschersleben before. We're running the shorter B circuit tonight and it's a really technical track. I've been practicing it a while now and I'm still not confident that I've found the best line. And on top of all that, we're facing an absolutely terrifying turn 1, which you can see on the screen at the moment. I really don't know how we're all going to get around safely, but I guess I'm about to find out. We've just finished the qualifying session and I've managed to put it 10th on the grid, which I think is about as good as I could have hoped for given my inexperience on the track and my lack of confidence. But let's not waste any more time chattering, let's get over to the grid and see what we can do to claw ourselves away from the bottom of that championship table. Lights go green and we're away pretty well. But my heart is going to be in my mouth all the way down this straight because I know what's waiting for me at the end of it. This turn 1 has given me cold sweats all week. I really don't know how we're all going to get around safely, but we're fast approaching it now, so I've just got to be as tight as I can. There's a few bumps in front. I've taken a nudge from behind. Looks like I've got Andre Kratochvil to the left of me, Kristeras to the right of me. 3 wide there as we come around this long right-hander. It's so easy to get the gas down a bit too early and drift out onto the grass there, but I'm losing positions. Looks like Matthews has gone past. Oh, Kratochvil goes past as well. I think he clipped Matthews as well. They were both lucky to stay on there. But yeah, I've been beaten up good and proper in these first few turns. I've dropped from 10th to 13th. We didn't get the best exit out of that turn either, and I've lost a few tenths on all the cars in front as Kratochvil has a look up the inside of Kristeras. He's trying to force his way through there. Kristeras isn't letting him go. They touch again. Oh, crazy stuff on the opening lap of this Scirocco race. And here's Kristeras going to try and fire right back on Kratochvil. It certainly got very close, and yes, he is going to go for the inside line. Has he got enough space to make it stick? Kratochvil's giving him room, but they touch. That's going to push Kratochvil a little bit wide, and that's going to give me the chance to catch back up with them. I've certainly got the pace on Andre now, but I'm on the wrong side. I should have been on the inside. I don't think there's going to be room to get around on the outside, so I'm just going to ease off and take it easy as we come into turn 1 for the second lap. Clipped a bit too much of the curb there, but we're okay, no suspension damage. But now we've got to try and stick with Andre and keep in touch with the rest of the pack. Andre runs a little bit wide again, but just manages to avoid the grass. But wow, that was a really aggressive first lap, and we've done well just to get through it without any accidents or damage, I think. But yeah, let's just try and settle down, find a bit of a rhythm. Tuck ourselves in behind Kratochvil. But this is the section of the track that I really struggle with. I've tried and tried to find the right line, but I lose time on every lap. And you can see Andre's opened up a few tenths on me just through those 2 corners. Oh, and Andre's up on 2 wheels. I thought he was going to save it, but he's crashed out big time. Oh man, I really thought he was going to save that for a moment. That would have been spectacular. But Andre's crashed out of 12th place. Right, we're 2 laps in and finally we've got some breathing room. So let's go back and check out some replays from the first couple of laps and we'll start on the grid. I got away pretty well there, but my main focus was to hold that inside line and just try and get around turn 1 safely. You can see just behind me, Andre is having a look up the inside and he's going to go for that gap. Meanwhile, on the outside of me, I've got Kristeras and I end up getting sandwiched between the 2 cars. There's nowhere to go. We pick up 4 instant points, but there's nothing we can do about that. I'm still rubbing doors with Kristeras, and now Andre's got Paul Matthews for company. They're swapping a bit of paint too. It's all very hectic on these opening few corners. And there's a bit more contact between me and Andre, and it was at that point when I just decided to ease off the gas and give Andre the position. I didn't want too much more contact. I really didn't want it to end in tears, but then it did here in spectacular style. And yeah, I really thought Andre was going to save that for a moment. He was on two wheels for what seemed like an eternity. This is what it looked like from his onboard, and you see how close he got to getting the car balanced and getting it back down on four wheels. Oh, I'm actually really struggling to stick with these guys now. They seem to just be opening up a little bit of a gap. It's 2 seconds now to Christorus. The only thing that might work in my favour is the fact that there's 3 or 4 cars grouped so closely together and battling. They could slow each other down, particularly if overtaking attempts are made. So I've got to cling on to that hope at the moment. Try and stick with them. I do feel like I'm a little bit quicker around this section, but the trouble is I lose all the time I've gained on the second half of the lap. Well, but saying that, it looks like Christorus might have run a little bit wide there. There was a puff of dirt, and he certainly went out onto the grass, so that's going to cost him some speed. And it has. We've gained a lot of time there. It looks like we're within a second of him. Yeah, 0.6 of a second. So that's brought us right back into contention. Christorus runs a little bit wide again, so we're going to get closer still. Let's try and get a better X out of this turn, and we can stay with him. Oh, he slowed down a bit there. I'll have a quick look up the inside, but no, there's no room. I'll ease off. I wonder if he might have just picked up a slow down penalty there, because he did seem to suddenly drop speed going into that turn. Oh, I lost a little bit of grip there. I think I might have carried a bit too much corner speed into that right-hander. We almost drifted out onto the grass. I had to get off the gas, but we're still with Christorus here, so let's try and put the hammer down as we bomb down the start and finish straight. Try and keep the pressure on that car in front. Oh, and Christorus is going straight on. He left it way too late on the brakes, and he's missed the corner completely, so we've gained the position. We're up to 11th. Yeah, 2 costly mistakes for Christorus there as we look at a replay of the first one around this never-ending right-hander. I said earlier that you can get suckered into going out onto the grass by getting on the gas too early, and that's exactly what happened, and you can see me gaining behind. And then a couple of corners later, this is normally where I struggle on exit, but I got out of it quite nicely there. I tuck in behind Christorus, but then all of a sudden, he eases off the gas. That's why I wondered if he picked up a slowdown penalty, but either way, it wasn't enough for me to get around him. But then my persistence paid off at the start of the next lap. Christorus outbrakes himself on the approach to T1. He goes right off, hits the gravel, and that costs him a load of time. I sweep by and take 11th place. Oh, a drive-through penalty for Richard Warren. Richard's one of the faster drivers, and I know he's in front of me, so that is definitely going to give us 1 position. Well, it might be 2 because there's been a crash up front. Who's that? That's Colin Kendrick who's crashed out. And he's managed to rejoin, but he might have damage here, so we could get another position. Yeah, look at the pit lane ahead. Richard's taking his drive-through straight away. And we're within a second and a half of Colin Kendrick now. So we're going to go up to 10th and we're going to be chasing 9th. Incredible. Yeah, let's take a look at the replay and see what happened to Kendrick, because he was battling for 5th place. That's Kendrick in the 133 car. He's currently 6th, but he's pushing Christian Grotter and trying to find a way through to get that 5th position. And as they approach this fast right-hander, he just loses the rear. It's difficult to tell from that camera angle whether there was contact or whether it was just a loss of control. We might get a better view from the onboard. Right in with Kendrick, and he just runs in a little bit too hot, and yes, there is contact. He clips the rear of Grotter, and that's what sends him into the barrier. Now, despite Kendrick picking up some front-end damage in that crash, he still had more than enough pace to pull away from me, which meant that the second half of the race for me was actually pretty lonely. Kendrick was a good few seconds further up the road in 9th, and behind me the gap was even bigger. I had a 10-second cushion. And as we approach the last couple of corners, look who it is who's made it into 11th place. Andrei Kratochvil, after that spectacular exit in lap 2, he managed to shake off the dizziness, regain his composure and battle his way back through the pack to take an 11th place. But for me, I'm more than happy with a top 10 finish. I knew it was going to be a tall order coming to a track that I'd never driven before against a load of guys who are incredibly fast, and none are faster than the winner, Antel, a fastest lap of 1:13.9. I really don't know how he does it. And there are the classifieds with me in 10th place, but the big question is, have I got enough championship points to claw away from the bottom of the table? And the answer is yes. We've managed to leapfrog Anthony Hobbs, who finished down in 14th, and also Graham Underhill, who drops to the bottom because he didn't start tonight's race. So it's been good to put the disappointment of last week's disconnection behind me, and now we look forward to the next race, round 4 at Spa next Monday. We'll see you there. Cheers.